Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ramont. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to cut and sew the asymmetric dada dress. I'll also show you guys how to eliminate your side dart and your waist dart. So if something are interesting, definitely keep on watching. So let's move right into this tutorial. For this tutorial, I use 1.5 yards of crepe fabric or any plain fabric of your choice. I also have this flowered chiffon fabric in 3 yards. So let's move right into drafting process. From the edge of pattern, I'm going to come down by 1 inches, which is going to be my shoulder line. So after that, I'm going to mark in my bust line, which is 10.5 inches, and the waistline 16 inches. After I'm done marking it, I'm going to roll out a vertical line. After I'm done with that, I'm going to come down by 9 inches from my waistline, which is distance between the waist to the hip line. I'll also roll out a vertical line there. So I use 30 inches for the length of the plain fabric. After I'm done marking it, I'll also roll out a vertical line there. So I'm going to label my bust line, my waistline. I'm going to skip the original hip line and label the top line, the hip line. After I'm done with that, I'm going to come up on the shoulder line and marking my shoulder length. My shoulder length is 15 inches divided by 2, which is 7.5. I've marked it. From there, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So to calculate the armhole line, you need to divide your bust measurements by 6 inches plus 1.5 inches. So when I did mine, what I have is 7.5 inches. I mark it and I roll it out. So the next thing to do now is to mark in my neck width, which I use 3 inches because the neck is a little bit higher. So after that, I'm going to connect it to the shoulder slope. So the next thing to do now is to find the midpoint on the armhole line and come in by 0.75. So after mark it, I'm going to come down on the chest line and take in my bust measurement. My bust is 36 divided by 4, which is 9 inches. So after marking it, I will now curve out my armhole curve. After I'm done with that, I'll come down on the waistline and mark in my bust span divided by 2. So mine is 7 inches, me your nipple to nipple divided by 2. So mine is 7 inches divided by 2, which is 3.5 inches. I mark it on the waistline, the hip line, and also the bust line. So after that, I'm going to connect it together. After I'm done with that, I will now take in my waist. So I use 1.5 inches. I divide it on both sides of the line. So on the hip line, I come up by 2 inches and connect it together to the waistline and to the bust line. After I'm done with that, I will not take in my waist measurements. I will divide my waist circumference divided by 4. My waist is 32 divided by 4, making it 8 inches plus 1.5 inches for the darts that we took on the waistline. I'll also replace it to the side. So I will now come down on the hip line and mark in my hip circumference divided by 4. My hip is 42 divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches. So I'll also come down to the top line and also marking my hip measurements. After I'm done marking it, I will now connect it together. I also mark 1.5 inches for the stitches allowance. After I'm done with that, I will mark 3 inches for the neck depth and connect it to the neck point. After I'm done with that, I'll come down by 1 inches on the bust line by the side and connect it to the bust point. After I'm done with that, I'm going to cut out the pattern through the waistline. After I'm done cutting out the pattern, I'm going to separate the upper part from the down part. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to transfer my side dart to the waist dart. So to do that, I'm going to close my side dart first. So after I'm done close out the side dart, I'm going to cut out the dart that is on the waistline. So I've transferred my side dart to the waistline. So after I'm done transferring my side dart to the waistline now, I still need to eliminate the waist dart. So to do that, I'm going to put another paper under it and use my sellotape to tape it together. After I'm done putting another paper underneath, I'm going to trim out the excess. So the second step now is to transfer the waist dart somewhere around the armor cuff. So to do that, I'm going to connect the waist dart leg to the armor cuff. So guys, after I'm done transferring my waist dart to the armor cuff, as you can see what it's looking like. So the third step is to close the dart. So to do that, I'm going to cut one side of the dart leg, but not through the arm of cuff. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to place it on top of the second dart leg before using my tape to zip it together. So guys, I've eliminated every dart that I have on the upper part of the pattern. So I'm going to put it aside, but I'm not yet done with it. We still need to add paper on the waistline. You can see that the waistline there is not straight. So I'm going to work with the down part and eliminate the dart that is on it. So to do that, I'm going to transfer the waist dart to somewhere around this point. Or you can just remove that waist dart on the side on the waistline and reconnect it to the hip line. So I'm just showing you guys another method to eliminate your waist dart. So I'll first of all connect it to one side of the dart leg and also connect it to the second side of the dart leg. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to cut it, but not cut it through on the one side of the dart leg, and place it on top of the second side of the dart leg and use my paper tape to tape it together. So guys, I'm done eliminate my waist dart now. So the last step to do now is to join the half length to the down part. So I'm going to use my paper tape to tape it together, as you can see what I'm doing here, and place another paper under it and use my sellotape to tape it together. So I'm going to do that from the wrong side because I don't want too much of paper tape to be showing on the right side. So after I'm done to use my paper tape to tape it from the wrong side, I'm going to flip it to the right side and retake in my waist measurements. So to do that, I'm going to roll out a straight line connecting to the center on the waistline, as you can see what I'm doing there. So after that, I'm going to retake in my waist measurement. My waist is 32 divided by 4, which is 8 inches, and reconnecting it to the bust line. After I'm done with that, also reconnecting it to the hip line. After I'm done with that, I also do the same thing to the stitches allowance. So guys, we have done with our front pattern. I'm going to cut out the excess that we have on the pattern. And this is what the front patterns look like after I'm done eliminate the side dart and the waist dart. So for the back pattern, I'm using the front pattern to cut out the back pattern. So I just place another paper under it and then use it to cut out the back pattern. So what differs from the front pattern and the back pattern is the armor cuff and the neckline. So for the back pattern, I went ahead, I had half inches on the cuff. Just see what I did here. I collected to nothing on the shoulder points and nothing on the side. After I did that, I'm going to remove the front pattern from the back pattern and then glue the waistline out to eliminate the zipper bulge on the center back on the waistline. I also label the pattern, the front and the back pattern. After I'm done labeling it, I'm going to marking my neck depth for the back. So I come down from the shoulder line by 1 inch and connecting it to the neck points and cut it out. After I'm done with that, the next thing to do now is to remove the zipper bulge on the waistline. So I come in by half inches on the waistline on the center back. After I'm done blending it, I'm going to cut it out. So what's remained for the back pattern is the zipper allowance, which I'm going to do that on the fabric. So guys, this is what the front and the back pattern is going to look like. So the asymmetric that is going to be on the hem, I'm going to do that on the fabric. So I went ahead, I folded my fabric into two before place my pattern on top of it, and I had 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance, half inches on the neckline, the shoulder and the armhole cuff before cutting it out. I also had half inches to the hem of the dress. So guys, I've cut out the pattern on the fabric finish, so I'm going to notch out the zipper allowance on the neckline and also the hem of the dress. And this is what the front and the back look like. So the next thing to do now is to cut out the facing for the neckline. So I'm going to remove the paper on top of it because I'm using the fabric to cut out the facing. So I went ahead, I folded my fabric into two, placed my front fabric on top of it and use it to cut out the neckline on the facing. So after I'm done cutting it out, I'm going to also cut it on the shoulder line before marking 3 inches all the way around and cut it out. After I'm done cutting out the facing for the front, I'm also going to do the same thing for the back. So I folded my fabric into two, place my back on top of it and use it to trace out the neckline. After that, I'm also going to mark 3 inches all the way around before cutting it out. After I'm done cutting it out, I'm going to cut through the center back. And this is what it's looking like after I'm just cutting out the facing for the neckline. The next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the zipper allowance on the center back before I took it to the machine to go and run a loose stitches on it before cutting out the asymmetric that's going to be on the hem of the dress. After I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the asymmetric that's going to be on the hem of the dress. So I'm going to come down by 8 inches plus half inches stitches allowance from the waistline. After I'm done marking it, I'm going to come in on the side and marking my stitches allowance, which is 1.5 inches. Go to the other side, do the same thing on it, mark 1.5 inches for the stitches allowance before I use my straight ruler to connect it together before cutting it out. I forgot to mention this, the line that I'm cutting it out now, I mark it on the right side of the fabric. After I'm not cutting out the front, this is what it's looking like. So this is the loose stitches that I run on the zipper allowance on the center back. After that, I'm going to do the same thing to the back fabric. So I'm placing my front fabric on top of the back fabric. Make sure that the right side of the back and right side of the front is facing each other before I use it to cut out the asymmetric line that's going to be on the hem of the back fabric. After I'm not cutting it out, I need to measure what I have there, which is 6 inches. Don't forget that stitches allowance is included. So I'm going to show you guys what I did on the fabric on the pattern. So let's assume this is a full front pattern. So one side, like we did on the fabric, I come down by 8.5 inches before connecting it to knotting on the other side. So what remains here now is 5.5 inches. So when I'm cutting out the gathered fabric, I'm going to remove that 5.5 inches on the fabric. So guys, we are done cutting out the asymmetric line. So the next thing to do now is to pin the front and the back together. Make sure the right side of the front and right side of the back is facing each other. So I'm going to pin it on the shoulder and also on the side line. After I'm done pinning it, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches that I had for the stitches allowance on both sides before I took it to the machine to stitch it together. After I'm done with that, I'm also going to pin the shoulder of the facing before I stitch it together. So guys, this is what it's looking like after I'm done joining the side and also the shoulder of the facing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to come up by 5 inches from the hem. That's where my zip is going to stop. So I'm going to take it to the machine now to go and fix my zip, and this is what it's looking like after I'm done fixing it. What's next now is to turn the neckline. So I'm going to place my facing on top of it. Make sure that the right side of the fabric and right side of the facing is facing each other. So I'm going to pin it together before taking it to the machine to stitch it. After I'm done using the facing to tuck in the neckline, I went ahead, I notched a top stitch on top of the facing. Make sure that your stitches allowance is facing towards the facing. So on the center back, I went ahead, I stitched down the zipper allowance. You can see what I did there. Make sure that your zip is in between the facing and the fabric. And this is what is looking like after I turn in the facing. You can see it on the zipper allowance that we use our facing to turn in the zipper allowance. So guys, I'm going to put this aside and work with the gathers fabric. So guys, what I have here is 3 yards. So I went ahead, I joined the both sides of it together. So after that, the joining is going to be on the center back. So I'm going to turn it outside now and mark 5.5 inches on one side. So everything that I'm doing here now, I'm doing it on the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to come down by 5.5 inches and connecting to nothing on the other side like what we did on the upper part of the fabric. So 5.5 inches I will remove from the length on one side of the fabric. So I'm going to also remove it on the gathers fabric. It's after I'm joining the gathers to the upper part of the fabric before I measured my full length before cutting out the excess from the fabric. So guys, after I'm not cutting it out, I'm going to notch the both side and the center front. After that, I will now start pinning it to the upper part. So the side that we cut out on the gathers fabric is going to be where you see me pinning it to now. I also pin the center of the gathers fabric to the center of the upper part, the same thing to the other side, and then the center back. What I'm trying to do here is to distribute the gathers equally on everywhere because we are working with asymmetric line. So after I'm done pinning the center, the both side and the center back, this is what it's looking like. So the next thing to do now is to turn it inside. Make sure the right side of the gathers fabric and right side of the fabric is facing each other like you see me doing here. So after that, I'm going to start using it to make a small plating, and make sure that your plating facing towards one direction. So I'm going to show you just a little out of it before I took it to the machine to go and finish the rest. And this is what it's looking like after I'm done pleating it. And this is what the back also look like. So the next thing to do now is to cut out the sleeve. So I went ahead, I folded my fabric into four and rule out a straight line that's going to be my starting line. So after that, I'm going to mark 10 inches for the length of the sleeve and 2 inches for the hem allowance. After that, I'm going to come down by 4.5 inches before I cuff it by connecting it to the sleeve edge. After I'm done with that, I need to measure what I have on the armhole circumferences. So I'm going to measure it. That is going to determine the measurements I'm going to use on the cuff. So I have 8.5 inches. So I'm going to measure it to make sure that I have 8.5 inches there. So that's where my 8.5 inches stop. So I'm going to add my stitches allowance, which is 1.5 inches. After that, I'm going to mark my round sleeve, which is 13 inches divided by 2, making it 6.5 inches plus 1.5 inches stitches allowance, and connect it together before cutting out the sleeve. After I'm done cutting out the sleeve, I'm going to mark 2 inches for the hem allowance and notch it. After I'm done that, I'm going to open the sleeve by folding my hem allowance inside before I took it to the machine to stitch it down. After I'm done folding the hem allowance, I also went ahead and joined the sides of the sleeve together and make sure that what I have on the armhole circumference is exactly on what I have on the sleeve edge. So after that, I'm going to fix the sleeve on the arm of cuff. So I will make sure that the side of the sleeve and side of the fabric is aligned together before I start pinning it. After I'm done pinning the sleeve, I'll take to the machine to stitch it together. Also do the same thing to the second sleeve. And this is what it's looking like after I'm done fixing the sleeve. So I also went ahead, I waved the hem of the facing. As you can see, I waved the inside of the fabric. So guys, this will end of today's tutorial. If you watch my video to the end, I haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button down below. Also ring the notification so whenever I post a new video, you'll be notified. Don't forget to like, comment and share. See you guys in my next video. Bye.